Okay. Oh my God. See the part below when it's how many years have you been doing this? That's why
Change the display settings.
The mirroring,
Yeah.
just scroll a little bit up. It's right. They changed it to it's there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then you can.
Okay, yes, nice.
And maybe if my leg is coming,
Yeah,
I don't know if you have to admit him or if it's
I
automatically.
think I will get notification.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, hello everyone, and welcome to the first week of JavaScript. So JavaScript is a very important language if you are planning to work with web, and I guess all of you are. So
can you introduce yourself because I have heard that somebody don't know you.
no, okay, cool. Yeah, I can do that. But okay, so then let's move to yes, introduction. So just okay, that's first. So my name is Ahmed. I work as a software engineer at Uber, and I've been here in Denmark for roughly 6 years. Still don't speak Danish though, so but yeah. So also we have a couple of mentors here. I don't know if you can introduce yourself quickly. Yeah.
I can start. So yeah, my name is Gunnar, and I work as a software engineer at Uber. Been in Denmark for roughly 1.3 years.
Very precise.
And my name is Maher. I've been in Denmark almost 20 years. I graduated from class 14, and now I'm working on newcomers as content.
So
Anton as well, yeah.
I'm from the same team as you and Esna. So I've been in Denmark for almost 2 years, and
Interesting.
I'm Christian, and yeah, I'm a student, master student at Oxford University, and also now I'm working as well. I got hired at a job, and yeah, that's, I already said what I'm really good at projects. I've been here for senior native. Why are you playing away when you say something? Huh? I'm from
Your name? No.
I came to Denmark in 2015. I just found out I don't speak Danish, and yeah, I wanted to play table football. I was quite surprised at it.
No. Cool. So yeah, thanks for the introduction. So I guess let's just start with talking a bit about JavaScript. Or what's JavaScript is, why do we even have to learn it? So in the last couple of classes, you learned about HTML and CSS, and then you learned how to make a website, I guess, a nice looking website, but it was missing one part. Do you know what this part is? Comparing, for example, no, interactive, because if you go to use Facebook or Twitter or Messenger or something, you're able to go through different people, reply to their messages. You see a lot of pop-up and a lot of very nice, stylish things. But can you do it really with only HTML and CSS? Not really. So there is something missing. Yeah. Okay. So it's JavaScript. So JavaScript is the most popular language for the web. So if you go to the job market and look at any job, you will find JavaScript there because it's used almost everything from front end, as you mentioned, like add some interactive things, to the back end to add some kind of way to interact and to store the data and so on and so forth. So when we talk about JavaScript here, we say it's like, this is very like formal introduction. JavaScript is cross-platform, object-oriented, blah, blah, blah. And what does this really mean? So I think the interesting part here is the interactive. So it makes things more interactive. It makes you to make more complex things into your web application. So when we talk about web applications in general, there are two kinds of things. There is a static and dynamic. So static web application is the one you learned how to do in the last couple of weeks because it's a static, it never changes. So if I go and click on your website, from here is the same as Yunus would do, or Maher, or Anton, or someone else, and someone clicking from here is the same as someone who checking from Sweden or from Germany. The content doesn't really change. While dynamic, the content changes based on the person. So if I click on something, it's different from Yunus, different from Maher, different from Anton, and so on. So dynamic is like, let's say, Facebook. So your profile is different from someone else. And then this is the concept of dynamic. So yeah. And then, as we also said, there are two types. Yeah, so like we have here like types like static and dynamic. There's also server side and client side. So server side is what, sorry, can you remind me of your name? Ramin.
Yeah.
Yes, what you mentioned as backend, which is the server side, while client side is the front end. So the client, there are always two parts of the application of whatever runs, like server or client. So client is the consumer, or like the one who's using what you use. So let's say that you are opening google.com. So Google has a server that stores some information, and then you type, I want to learn JavaScript. So when you type JavaScript, Google has stored somewhere with the pages of JavaScript, and then it sends it to you, and then it shows to you on your browser. Your browser is the client because it's the one that you use to consume the data. And then the server is the one that stores this data. So you can also think about the server as like, if you are also want to store students' data. So you are in a university somewhere, and then you are storing the students' information. So each student has their own data, and then you store this information on the server. So if I'm going to the website, I want to get my grades, the server will only send me the information that I need. But if Yunus go or Anton goes, then Anton will get his own information. While if I'm doing everything on the client side, then everyone can access everyone's things. So it's also separating or like controlling what has to change. There are a lot of applications that put some logic on the client and put some logic on the server. When I say logic here, it's some kind of, how would you say logic? So it's the complex operations that the program does. So let's say the SCAT website, I guess it's one of the favorite topics, like for tax calculations. So I guess everyone has different formula. So not everyone pays 15%, or less everyone doesn't pay 50%. So it depends on your income, and then you have brackets, and then you have a lot of operations. So if you do all of this on the client side, then you cannot, if SCAT updated this formula, then it will not be updated on your machine. But what you do is you just call SCAT, and SCAT tells you the latest information they have. So their way, your information or the way they calculate is not exposed to you. You only see what they do, but while they're doing a lot of complex operations on their server side or in the backend. Is this clear enough, or is making you confused? Or I guess, yeah. Yeah, okay, so we'll just go a bit more, and then we can come back to it later to review this. So there are also, if you look into the internet about JavaScript, you see some people says JavaScript and some people says ECMAScript. So what is really the difference between two? So ECMAScript is the official name of JavaScript. So JavaScript has some standards, has a committee that puts what goes into the language, the details of the language itself. So that is called ECMAScript, while the language itself or the implementation of this specifications is called JavaScript. So I guess for you, if you're start learning like JavaScript, ECMAScript, it doesn't really matter. It's, you know, it's one thing, but sometimes on the internet, you will see, oh, this feature will come in ECMAScript 6. This is the last name, because ECMAScript 6 means that this is a new version of JavaScript. So people can version the things, like there's some features in ECMAScript 5 or ECMAScript 6, or some people call it ECMAScript 2015, and all these kind of things. But for you, I think you shouldn't really worry about those. Like if you see ECMAScript or JavaScript, it's just JavaScript for now, until you. Vanilla script. I think this is another variant of that, yeah. But I don't think it's the same. No. Do you know what you?
Maybe it's opposed to TypeScript.
Yes.
Opposed to TypeScript. It's not TypeScript, it's vanilla script.
Vanilla JavaScript is just like using JavaScript. Like it's without any extra frameworks or.
Yeah,
any
this is
extra
vanilla script. Not.
library.
Is it the same as vanilla JavaScript? That's yeah.
When people say vanilla JavaScript,
This is vanilla
I
script, not
don't
vanilla
know.
JavaScript.
I don't know if there's something called actually vanilla.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a lot. If you search the job, they said that.
Yeah. They mean that you can write JavaScript.
Yeah.
Without anything.
Yeah, without a lot of fancy things behind JavaScript. It's just pure JavaScript. Because-
It's more important to know JavaScript without
framework.
Yeah, I think it's a good start, because it's like the learning things, it's good just to learn things the hard way. And then the libraries you can, and all these complex things will come along the way, but you also need to understand what is happening behind these things, because in the future, it will be just like a black box and you don't know what's happening inside. But if you do the complex things at the start, then you know what is happening inside. And if there's a problem, you'll know how to solve these problems. So it's good to know both, but at the start, let's just learn the things from the ground up. So I guess let's just start the demo. So how can I start writing JavaScript? So I have a lot of errors here, but okay, so let's just start. So if you want to start JavaScript, there are multiple ways to write JavaScript at. So you can just write it in your browser. So if you right click and then you click inspect, then you type console. You see that I have, yeah, so I have here a place where I can write some scripts. I also have some place here where I can also write some just Visual Studio. I guess you use Visual Studio for HTML and CSS. So you can also have a file for JavaScript. But I guess for simplicity, just because we are starting, it's easier to start with here in the console, and then with the exercises, we will move to have a separate file for JavaScript. But if I want to start something right away, so to print something on the console or to print something here in the output, you start with console, and then log. So as you see in the programming languages, many of the things you do are commands, so they are in the order forms, like log. So I want you to log this for me, or like sum, I want you to sum something for me. So console is the place, is this place where we log things, and then we ask the language to log, which then we log something. So let's say just hi. So I am adding double quotes. Double quotes here mean this is like a string. This is a text I want you to print. So it can be a double quote or a single quote. JavaScript doesn't really differentiate the two. So if I say console.log hi, can you just guess without doing anything, if I click enter, what will happen? Yeah. Yeah. So it will just print it for me. So there are also other things in the console. So there are stuff like warn. So can you guess what this will print to me? Same, but with a bit like a yellow thing, because I'm saying it's warning. Yeah. Yes. Let me try. No. I actually don't know how.
You can extract the whole window to be outside the browser, and then like this, and then if it comes like this,
No.
zoom in. Is this clear? Is this not clear?
No, I actually. Yeah, it's. Okay, actually, something better?
Your wheel will make it zoom in. So
No.
no.
Okay, JS1. So let's start this website. It's again, it's just another way to write JavaScript. So I guess we can zoom in here. Yeah. So console.log, hi. And then if we click on run. Oh, console. Yes. Okay. And then, yeah, cool. So I hope, yeah. So as you notice here, console.log, and then also typing I. Or what am I missing here? Yeah, okay. So as you notice here, so I'm using either single quotes or double quotes. So JavaScript as a language doesn't really differentiate the two, but in many other languages, there is a distinguish between the two. So usually single quote will be used for characters, like, so you can only have single character with a single quote, while with double quote, you can have multiple text or sentences, but in JavaScript, both are the same. So you can use either double quote or single quote in this situation. So now you know how to print something, right? So I guess just it's time for the first exercise already. And just want you to introduce yourself in a log statement. It can be in the website, was called JavaScript Ben, JS Ben, or in your console, just to try it out. So let's get like 5 minutes just to do that. And then the mentors will be around to help you if you don't know what to do.
It was console, love.
Yes.
Yeah, just get
No difference in this one another.
Yeah. Also, maybe this is a use the inspectors. What you correctly inspect. What they do? So they are getting their. They don't really think much. They don't know too much, but
Yeah. Yes, this is done at my actually going in under but in the future, let's learn how of the issue of We will go further in the
Oh, yeah, this.
So are we all done or? Yeah, okay. So let's then start the other section about variables. So I guess with the so what is a variable? So a variable is a container that stored information. So now with the print statement you did, so you printed your name, right? So what if you needed to use your name in multiple things? You will have to type your name multiple times, right? And is this really a good idea? It's not, because then you have to repeat yourself. So a variable is a place to store this information so you can reuse it multiple times in your application. I don't know if anyone of you has a mathematical background, but just like a variable in the math class, where you say like x equal to 5, y equal to 6, and so on. X is a variable, which is very similar to what you learn here in the code. So then if you have to do a mathematical equation to sum two numbers, how would you do it? So then it will be, let's say, k equal x plus y, which is exactly the same as we do in code here. Is this clear, just the concept of variables before we go into it? Okay. So there are three ways to declare variables in JavaScript. So there's a keyword called let. I'll actually share the slides, so maybe you don't have to take a picture. I'll share the slides. So, and it's also mentioned in the lesson plan. So I guess,
Okay, so
yeah,
you're going to share it?
I'm sharing it, and the session is recorded, and it's part of the plan. So you should not worry about it. Yeah, cool. Let and const and var. So let and const are the two ones I said I would recommend to use them going forward, and var are kind of an old version of JavaScript, an old version of ECMAScript that used to be there. I'll explain briefly why. But let lets you declare a variable that you can assign it in the future. So let's say your name. You can let your name equal to Ahmed, but I can assign it to be name equal to someone else's name, like Mahir or Yunus or something else. While constant is a value will never change in the future. So if you say that your name is Ahmed, you will never be able to change this during your program execution. So I guess you can decide. And as a rule of thumb, you should always use const unless otherwise, because the variables you should use, you should not really try to manipulate them unless you really have to. So you always try to use const. Unless you need to reassign something, then you use let. Variable, it's very similar to let. It can let you reassign variables, but it has some problems in the design of the concept itself, because you can declare. I will actually prefer to explain it by example, but yeah, okay. And then, so if we say here to the left, so let teacher. So here we define the variable called teacher, and then when we log it, then we will have it's undefined. So it means that we declared it here, but we haven't assigned a value to it, just like the math. So like when you define something, but you don't give it a value, so then it doesn't have anything. And then teacher equal to, sorry. So that means that we assign the value from this variable and give it something. So if we log it here, then we will find that it has the name that we assign it to. And because this is a let, so then we can reassign it multiple times, which is the opposite of constant. While and student here is the same way. So, but here we did it in two steps. So we declared the variable once and then assigned the value, but you can also declare the variable and assign the value at the same time. And I think this is the most common form of doing that. Going here, so we have a var to declare variable is pretty much the same. So var a equal 1, then we reassign a to 2, because a and let can let you reassign the things multiple times. And then here, b equals something, and then b equal to dancing. And I was allowed to change this because this is a let. But then coming here, I have a constant C equal to true. And then I try to change the value of C to be false, but then the JavaScript engine will prevent me from doing this because, as we explained earlier, you cannot reassign the value in constant. So, okay, so let's just do another demo. So going here into this JavaScript, so if I want to declare a variable for my name, so let name equal to Ahmed, and then console.log, then my name. So as you see, the console.log is the same statement as we used before, but instead of adding a text here, I am adding the name of the variable that I declared here. And then the console will check this reference and show me how to do that. Yeah, and then run. Yes, so that printed me Ahmed. So now again, if I were to change this to something else, let's say Maher, and then console.log name. So what do you think the value would be? Maher. Yeah, it's, yes, that's right. Or we can clear it and then, yes. But then for constant, so let's say const age, and let's say it's 99. So if I log it, so I guess we all know what we will get, right? Just 99. So no problems here so far. But if I try to do age equal to 71, and then I try to log that, will it work? No. No, like the age here is 99, but then I try to give it a new value. Yes. So what will happen if I just say run it? Because yeah. So yes, exactly. So I got an error from JavaScript here, says that you cannot reassign the value of a constant because, yeah, you defined it as a constant, so I don't expect it to change during the execution of my program. So what if I really want to reassign this value? What can I do? Let's, instead of const. Okay, so let's try that and then try to run it again. It works because, yeah, as we described earlier, let unconst. So we also talked about var and why we should not use it. Or like, yeah, now you will find it in some legacy programs on the internet, but for new things, why you should not use it. So let's just clean this up. Or so let's have this example. So let name equal to Ahmed, and then I have a function here, which a concept you will know later, which is like just a group of commands together. So just say hi, and then we do console.log name, which is Ahmed, and then after printing the name, we reassign this value to M, and then we try to log the name. So when we clear, and then of course we need to call this function this way. So just, I guess, can you guess what is the output of this one? So this is how what is going to be executed. So then this Ahmed, and then the second one will be M. Yeah, that's right. So what if I come here and then say let name equal to F, and then name equal to M, and do it this way? It's getting a bit confusing, right? So what's going to happen here? So here, no, this is the first one. Ahmed, and then the second one.
No, M.
No. Okay. So let's see the votes and let's try to run and see which one is the right one. F. So this printed F, and this printed Ahmed. So can anyone tell me why? Yeah. So the name here is declared for the level that is what here, while the one I declared here, it's only visible or only accessible in between these two curly braces. So I guess variables, you can declare them within a function, and you can declare variables within outside of this function scope. So what you declare in, it's only visible in, but what you declare out is visible in and out. But because here I defined the same name twice, the function is using the one that in its scope or within these two curly braces. That's clear?
If you call the function after console log name, she prints m
Can you repeat?
after console log, then you
Here
yes, no, here.
or here?
Call the function.
Here?
If you switch the order, you say hi after console log, right?
After console log,
Just get
This
the
way?
order.
Yeah, okay. And then let's try to print. So I got Ahmed and then F. Can you get Y or
can you back
bring it back?
call function before and after?
Okay, yeah, two times.
After,
Yeah.
2 times, yes.
This way.
Yes.
Okay.
Why she don't change name?
Because
by M?
console log before name M.
Mhm.
Is
Or you make console
if
log-
console log name after name equal M.
Yeah. Because the name here, it's not this name, it's this name. Because as we mentioned, if there's the same name in two places, JavaScript only takes the one inside the curly braces of the function.
What should we do to call the M?
To call the M?
If console.
So then if we remove, yeah, but if we remove the let, this means the JavaScript will reuse the one from above. Because adding let here says that I am declaring a new one, I'm not reusing the old one. But if I want to reuse this one, then I didn't want to declare it because it's already declared or defined here. So then if I do it this way, let's see what is the output gonna look like. So F, M, and then here I'm getting M, which makes sense because I'm not declaring a new one here. Yeah, because we never got to print Ahmed at this stage. Yeah. Yes, so, but if I want to get Ahmed, we will console.log here, name, because then it will be before reassigning this variable. And then if we get to do that, then I'll get my name, then FMMF. So actually, why did I do all this? Actually, it's because of var. So I wanted to talk about var. So if I replace this one with var, and then we come here and we want to print name, and then we declare var again, and then we print name here. And let's see. Let me remove this one and then see what is gonna happen. So it is
Like the function didn't work, but it's only printed.
the Ahmed, yes, yeah.
Something wrong with the function, but we did some.
Yes, it used the name, but it was not supposed to do that. And if we go here to the example we had, actually there was another example I wanted to show here, but actually from this one. Yes. Yes, actually this one. So yeah, this, let me just remove this one. So just clearing out this, if we say that name here is equal to F, and we try to print this out here with what we described earlier, what will it print? No, it's what? Yeah, it's nothing. But I actually don't know then about the example. Let's actually try to copy this one and see. And then here. Yeah, okay. So as we said, everything within the scope of this F is supposed to be, it's not supposed to go out. What's out goes in, but there should not be anything in goes out, right? As we said, like it's a, if there is a global variable. So let's say var test equal to false. And then this is, can you see what is the issue here? So the var test here is false, and then I have an if statement for something, and then I redeclare the value to be true, and then I'm printing the value of test here. But as we mentioned, everything between curly braces should not influence anything outside because we are redeclaring it. But for the var, it influenced that. So what if we change this to be let and let? What output will I get? So it will be false because it uses the one from outside, while the one inside has no impact outside because it's two different scopes, as we mentioned, different curl braces. If that makes sense. So I guess, because of this confusion, you should really try to avoid var because let is very similar to other programming languages and it's more logical, more easier to understand for this situation. So, okay, it's time for another exercise. So if it works, declare a variable with your name and age and then print it in the console. So I'll also let it you to decide what is the right thing to do. Is it let or const or var? And then let's see.
You mentioned the legs and back, the variables can be assigned. Can you declare the same variable using legs and at the same time, maybe leg time using back? The same variable.
But if you're curious, you can try it. See what will get. Yeah. So yes, you can use it both, but most of the people who write JavaScript at semicolon. But yeah, it will work without, but actually there are some examples without, but yeah, the most common in the industry is what, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right, it's not the same as console, but right, straight to the browser.
Yeah, it's documented writes to the HTML or to the browser DOM, which is document object model, which we want to use in the future. Yeah, I think we have two different uses. Like console.log is more when you write your own program. If you have something, for example, if you are doing the sum operations like 5 plus 5, you expect it to be 10. But if it's 0, then you don't know what is wrong. So you add a lot of console.log to see what is wrong and fix it. But document.write is if you want to expose this information to the user. Yeah, so it's yeah. So, how far are we from this side? Are we done here? Okay. Yeah, cool. So then moving on. So then let's talk about data types. If everyone is done, yeah. So I guess we got to learn about variables and we got to learn how to print them, but there is also data types, which is like, what can you store in the variables? Because as we mentioned, like you printed your name, which was a string. What we call string is the text. You also got to write your age, which was a number, but there are different kind of variables or things you can do. So we have a number. So it's like 1, or it can be a decimal or float, or it can be a lot of things. So in JavaScript, all numbers are just numbers. In some programming languages, you have more specific types, like they will use integer for like a numbers, and float with numbers with dots, like a decimal numbers, and some other more specific things. But in JavaScript, it's way easier, so you don't have to think about it. It's all just numbers. String, so just like, hi, I'm Ahmed, or whatever, the name you wrote or something, it's just called string. Boolean is a true or false, 0 or 1. Which we also got to use as an example, one of the constants. So it's called Boolean, true or false. We also have, okay, I actually didn't get to update the template I used for this presentation, but don't worry about it. So it's null or undefined. It's used, so undefined is when you declare a variable without giving a value to it. So in the example we got, actually, and then, yes. So here, for example, we defined the teacher, right? But we didn't assign a value to it. So then when we printed it, we got undefined, which means it doesn't have value yet. And we have null. Null is when you declare a variable and you decide explicitly say, I want it to be empty. So, and big int is similar to number, but big int is a special case where it, if you can see, is like big int can hold a very large number because it consumes a lot of memory and takes more information. So it's just a special thing. And those types we call primitive, while we have then the second type of variables we call reference. Well, the difference I will explain a bit later, because I think just like let's know about the variable types and exercise with them, and then explain what is the difference. But then we have the other three types are object. So in JavaScript, you can have more complex scheme or more complex way to store information. So in the examples we used so far, you got to declare one for name and one for age, right? But you can have one object, which is with curly braces here, that has a lot of more information that you can store together and you can be assigned together. So if we say that we have a student, so the student has name, has grades, has birthday, have address, and so on and so forth, then you can group all of them together in this one object. But why would you do that instead of declaring a variable? You can also declare a variable for each of these things, right? So when to use what? But imagine with the object, if you were to declare them in a separate variables, if you have 10 students, then how many variables will you have? It's like if you have 10 fields, then you will have to declare 100 variable, and that is too much. While the object here, it's one variable with properties inside, but it's self-contained. So it's one thing. And that makes it easier to group things together related to this person. So here in this example, we got like a cat. So cat has multiple properties. So I'm declaring all of them together. I could have also declared variable like my cat name, my cat age, my cat color, my cat child, but since it's all contained together, then it's easier because then I have it to one place and then I can control whatever is there. We also have an array. Array is a group of things, usually in normal programming languages of the same type, but in JavaScript, you can have mix of a lot of things together, but I still recommend to use the same type. So for example, here, you can have students list, student array. So the students, you have here the list of like Chris, Bob, Jim, where you can have a lot of things related to each other. You start it with curly braces, no, with braces. I know what's called this braces, right? Yeah, okay. And square brace, yeah. And then you declare all of the things connected to each other this way. So you also still use let or const or var or whatever you want to do. You assign and then you define the brackets here, and then or square braces, and then you define the values separated by comma. And then the interesting thing about arrays and objects. So how can you access a value of an object? So what if I want to access the name? Dot, yes, so it will be my cat dot name. Yeah, exactly. While in the array here, index. And the index in all programming language, or the majority of the programming languages, starts from 0. So if I want to access the first item here, it will be 0. So what if I want to access gem here? What's the index of 2? What will happen if I add 3 or try to access 3? Undefined, yeah, because it doesn't exist. So yeah, actually, okay, we have an example here. We have also one of the other reference types is function, but we will have it's in the next week, and I don't want to throw a lot of information in you, so just know about it, and then you will know more details about it when we go to it. Yeah, okay, so just before going into the exercise, let's try again. So Renee told me there's something I can click here to. Oh, auto run. Okay. So yes, okay. So if I want to declare a variable to hold student information, so in this case, I'm not planning to reassign it again. So should I use const or let or var? Const. So then student, and then how can I declare object? Curly, yeah. And then I want to have name. So yes, name. No, I do not use let here because it is within this, of the object. So then name is equal to, let's say, foo, and then age equal to 30. So in this case, if I were to print, let's see, because always console.log is your friend. If you have any problems, if you don't know what the output looks like, just use console.log because it will give you information about how JavaScript sees that. So if we were to print that, okay. So then, as we mentioned, this is called objects. So JavaScript is telling me that this is an object, and then it has 2 properties or 2 things. The things inside the object are called properties. So I'm having here the age and the name. So can someone help me? What if I want to access the student name? Yeah, student.name. And then it's just, okay. So it is foo. Is there another way I can use it to access? What if I want to access the age? Age, yeah. Console.log student.age. Yeah, that should print something somewhere. Yes, 30. What if I try to access something that I haven't defined? So let's say address undefined. Yes. Yeah, because I haven't defined it. There is another way to access objects, so you can do it this way. So then let's try to clean up this one again. And so then I get also foo. So you can have this kind of the braces, and then you mentioned the property name within double quotes.
Actually, we call the objects as students, and each item inside the object, we call it the key and the key value. So it's called, the name is key, the age is key, and the value beside it. So it's the value of the key.
Yes. Yeah.
So the name and the age inside these curly brackets, like, do they automatically become constants? Because we already stated that the student is a constant, or it's like.
That's actually a very good question, and it's a trick also. You can reassign them. So actually, yeah. So even though, so student.name equal to a bar, and then let's try to print that. Let's try to clean a little bit here, and then have the name this way. So the name here is bar. So, but then does it make sense, because we said constant? I don't want it to be reassigned while we were able to reassign something, right? But the trick here is like that constant with student is you cannot reassign the whole thing. So if I try to do this way, student equal to this one, then JavaScript will complain that, or maybe, yes. So I cannot reassign it, but I can assign something inside this property. So that's the thing. So I hope it's not too confusing.
So
So maybe better use let in this case if you want to.
But if you think about it another way, yeah, you don't want them to change everything. You only would change a specific property. And then otherwise you will just risk of someone wiping everything. That's also not good.
So is it let or var, like the name, the age?
I think they are
Let.
yeah. So they have different scope. And the object here in JavaScript, you can also have more complex things. So you can have object inside object. So if we say that the address is an object, then we can have something like, or yes, street name, and then something, and then, you know, how can I access that? So student dot address dot street name.
We go down inside the.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So now I was able to access that. So now we'll go to the objects, I guess. Then let's talk about the array. So const, also, let's say students. Also note here in the name, I made it plural because I'm planning to store a group of students. If it's one student, then I don't add the S. So it's also just make sure that the variables you declare are describing what you are storing in them, because you can also say const x equal to foo bar. But then when I go and look into it, it's x and source strings, but what is in this string? I'm not really able to tell, right? While students, when I just read students, I'm able to tell that this is a list of students. So it's good to declare names that are good and easy to understand, so you can understand them. Your colleagues in the project or even at work are able to understand them and know the value of them. Because otherwise you will be the only one who understand them. And I'm pretty sure you will not remember the value, what is in there in a month or so. Yeah, for me, even at work, when I go 6 months to something I did 6 months ago, I didn't recognize that I wrote it. And I was like, okay, who wrote this bad thing? And then I check the history and it is me. So it's, so yes. So let's say Ahmed, M, and A. So you can also print any kind of value. So you can still do console.log students. So then I need to clear this. Yeah, so this is the values. So how to access the last value? Mm-hmm. 2. So what if I do for undefined because it's not there? Yes, okay. But what is the last value then? What? 2. Then, yeah, try not to be confused. 2 here means 2 plus 1 because the index starts from 0. So in this case, it is A. And the list has, should I do it now? No, the list, there are many things in JavaScript have multiple properties or have multiple things that can help you to tell what is, get more information about the thing. So if I do students dot length, so this will return me how many items are in this array. So if I do this, then I try to clean this up. Or what was it called? It's not a function. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So it's telling me that the items here are 3, which makes sense, right? And then what if I want to add one more item to this list or to this array?
Declare new length.
No, you can actually add to what you have. So if you do students dot push and then F, and then let's try to print this again. Yeah. So you have a lot of things like you have push, you have pop to remove something from the list. And so it's also the same for the objects. So if you declare an object, let's say X, it's not a very good name, or let's say student, and then it's an empty list, but I can still declare name equal to foo. And then this is a name that I haven't defined here, but then I'm adding it to this object. So then it's time for another exercise. Yeah. Yeah, so create a variable that is holding the value of 24 multiplied by 55. And then create a constant, which is we have done before, print the information, and then declare an array, and then yes. So spend a couple of minutes, just try to read the exercise, understand it, and then we will be around to help you. Yeah. Multiplied. Yeah.
I am freezing. Sorry, breathing. I did that, but it didn't work. Where did you brother this go? What should I do here? There's always a but yes, either money or times and then finish. That's not times. Oh, yeah, yes. About this before. Some of them have to like, yeah, there's like employees. So this. I'm telling you, I wrote that. I think we're going to learn how to learn those things. Where everything is famous. Like, he was saying that the board says this was work. You really see when you just learning it. Yeah, I'm just saying. All these things are not. Doing things in your life so that you will feel all these things.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really.
Maybe it's really not. But one thing that hurts is that don't take that time because and you learn this right. So in the future, definitely when you start to read it, they will get an alert or now. Because you should always they give me you want to be assigned to
You need a name for it.
Yeah. If you want to just then you can yeah. Yes. You know it's just wait for yeah.
You start to get confused which level you're on. Maybe this is I was confused. Yeah, it doesn't work. I got it.
basically just make sure you let's say there you go. And I'm gonna go and see or be ready and see how it's there. Comes out and what the value is created. And the key in the people are saying honestly that's so open. There's like that's more fun. But the rule is do something that I use I don't want to do that. I think it's fine. You directly and and the right way just use that. It's like it's not easy to control. So this the thing is always false or something like you can also use to
One character without this thing.
Because I think it's very important yeah, that one, but I think pretty sure you
Yeah, that's my question. Yeah.
That one would work. You will know what this means.
I think everything starts with zero. But what if you do it zero? No, but actually, what if you print name? What if you print name again? Just try to print name. It's empty. So in JavaScript, there are two methods to subtract name. There's slice and splice. One of them changes the original name, and the other one returns a new one with what you changed. So probably you use the one that changes the original variable instead of giving you a new variable. So if you search in Google like string slice versus like JavaScript, yeah, it's really Stack Overflow is the best one because yeah, exactly. So it's not what you want in this case.
Yeah.
Change the name, yeah. Oh, okay, okay. But actually, there's another way to access the K. So if you just name, then you do like the array, fairly places. Yeah. You don't have to read it there. No, you can read the old one. Then name, and then you do the brackets, and then zero. No, just yeah. 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 It can be both, but yeah, it can be both. But I think here it says that you need to one that includes all of them, but also it's fine to have separate. No, pre-boolean means that boolean has either 0 or 1, but you can have multiple values. You can have a list of multiple like 2 or 1 false and 2 or 1 2 and mix them up. Yeah. Yeah, you're missing the equal. Yeah. Yeah.
It's more maybe if I go
Without track, because when you add double quotation, it means that you are making it string, even though it's Boolean. Without, yeah, because if you do it with double quotations, it means that you are declaring it as a string, but as a number. But in this case, we want to have it as a number. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, it's still slice. Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, use it there. Where do you store? In the exit here, we want to press for elements. We start in a zero, we want to take four. But you want to press the braces with inside of parentheses. That's like the one you do with a block. Right. When you start from zero and then you want to because you want to for element. Yeah.
Do that. Here.
Yeah.
Press Alt down and 8 to open a bracket. 8. 8.
Yeah, but I don't know this was the one.
From 0 to 0, 1, 2, 0. Around the secret. One, we follow so first how you aim I think it doesn't matter.
if you want to experiment with this, use some random.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't need that. You don't need that. Yeah, but not just probably say that's what I love the part of the rest of this right. This yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But you can move and get the over the first or
If you're doing the console, the coming one is so let's go back to the console. This is basically just add this. So I just write, for example, R. Exactly, and that is the same thing as writing the array. But okay, we want to the last.
So if you open
The last.
yeah, just then 0, 1, 4. No, but then you put the book line above and check the line above. Yeah, maybe that's one more.
This way, it has to be number 1, and after 3, 1, it's three, 3, 2, if you
No. No, because this is the more advanced thing that we can teach you. Yeah, so, yeah. I think that's good.
Something cool.
So how far are we? Are done? Yeah. So if you can give me just 2 minutes, just explain something, and then we can go back to the rest of exercise. Yunus. So I guess I want to explain the difference between, so as we described here, there's primitive types and there is reference types. I said I will explain it later. So now I think it's good time, now you understand how to declare variables and what variables are, to explain both. I can just draw this, we can draw. Yeah, okay. So if we go here in the exercise, let's see, if I say const name equal to a. So this means that I have a variable here of type string that has the value name, right? And then if I say that name 1 equal to b. So then what is the value? Or no, sorry. let's say name1 equal to name. Honest, or let's here, just for the sake of the example. So let name equal a, and then let name1 equal name. So what is the value of name here? What is the value of name1? So if I come and do name1 equal to b. So what is the value of name? What is the value of name1? That's very obvious, right? But now if I say const student 1 equal to an object with name equal to who, and then let's say const student 2 equal to student 1. So what is the value of student 1? Name who. What is the value of student 2 here? Name who. And then if I come here and say student 2 dot name equal to bar. So then let's evaluate again at this point after doing this one. What is the value of student 2 of name bar? Because we assigned. What is the value of student 1 dot name? Why 4? Some people say 4 bar. So let's start with people who are saying foo. Why it's foo? Because that's because they are two different things, right? But then the one who's saying bar, why is bar?
These like reference in the memory.
Yes.
Change.
What does this mean?
It's like another way to change it. Instead of writing like name to dots bar, we just like a shortcut, we did student 2 name bar.
But why the same didn't happen here?
It don't have a reference, it's just bar.
Yeah, exactly. So in JavaScript, there are two different kind of variables. So the primitive, the one we described, is like string, Boolean, number, null, undefined, and big int. If you change them, you change only like you move them by copy and there's no reference. While the one with the reference, you are changing the reference here and then that would impact the one. So I guess if we're just about to draw it. So let's say here, we have a variable called name and it has the value 8. And this is like 1 and then 2. Yeah, let's see just this way. And then we have here the operation we did. So we have a name and then name 1. And then when we assign them, then we have at this stage, there are two separate things. Is clear? And then when we come and said that we want name 1 to be B, so this is 3. So then we have name equal to A, and then name 1 equal to B. I think it's quite logical, right? So like if you let name A, right, we just have a variable called name that has a value A, and then name 1 equal to name, which means that we copied the value, and then we have two A's because they are two different values. And then here we change B, but A is unchanged because we have another copy of it. It's quite logical, but what actually, yeah. So on the opposite side, when we, what was the variable name? Student 1. So let's say that we have student 1, and it's an object of, no, let's do it this way. So it's a pointer, and then you have somewhere here, right? So student 1 with the value name. So this is the reference. So like the JavaScript or like the in the memory, you have a pointer, and then the pointer says that I'm storing this value elsewhere, and then the information here is like that name is who. I think that's fine still.
It's response on the words.
Let's forget about the const. Yeah, it doesn't really matter in this situation because it's about how we store it in memory. So like let versus const, because yeah, it's more about the assignment. It can be let as well. It doesn't really matter in this situation, but just bear with me. So this is number one. And then in number two, we have student one. It still has the pointer to the reference of name two, and then we have here with the variable student two. We have a pointer that refers to the same one. So this is number two. And then in three, what we are doing here, we are changing the bar value, right? So it says that student one, we have a pointer, and then student two. And then both of them are still referring to this one, but then we are changing the name to be bar. So as you see here, because the reference is both are reading from the same thing, the value will be changed for both. So this is the reference. While by value on the other side, they are two separate copies, and they're not changing. There are ways to solve this problem because this problem, and actually you will do it, you will have it a lot in the job or the projects because you can confuse the types. And then, but at least you should know why and how to fix it. That will come later. But I just get the concept of objects and arrays are by reference, and string numbers and so on are by value. Is it clear? Yep.
Okay, something, I can see that, that two objects, yeah. If you can reassign student one or student two, why do they say that, two ends objects? Yeah.
Can you repeat?
You can see that, you reassign student one to student two.
Yeah.
So it means student one is book two. Does it mean that student one, object one is the second object? Does it mean?
It means now I'm declaring this value and I say I want this value to be equal to this value. So this is like just want this to be reference to this one.
Okay, so they are equal.
Yeah, or use the same reference to this case. I want to assign the value of this one to be this one. So in this case, they are the same.
Okay, so why do they say like two ends of this motif?
I guess it's some stuff in JavaScript that will come later. Because there is like the reference and the value, because if you do it this way, so if we have student one, let's just assume that we have constant like here, student one equal to empty, and then student two equal to empty. Here they are not equal because if we go back to here, if we do it this way, we will have student one that is pointed to student of empty list, and then student two that is equal to another one of another list. While when we do the assignment operation for the same thing, we are changing the reference to be the same. I don't know if this is making it more confusing or.
But we have changed the student two name to bar.
Here, yes,
Yes. So student one will point to,
the same reference.
no, to full.
No,
Yes, we haven't changed the student one.
Yeah, that's why it's very.
We just, changed.
yes, but as I mentioned here, both of them are referencing to the same information in memory.
They're
So that's-
equal, right?
Yeah. So when we say that in the second line, const student two equal to student one, this means that the same pointer, the same address of student one will be shared with student two. So we are not just copying the value.
Like, it's a bit like reality. The left one says that if I have an apple and Ahmed, and then Ahmed gets an apple, so it's two apples. But in the consequence is like, I have an apple, then I give my apple chocolate, and then he paints the apple yellow. But then my apple, which now is adapted, is still yellow, so it's the same apple that we share. While the left ones are two different apples. And then the diamond can have an apple as well.
Painted yellow, some of the second
I guess it's just a rule, but this part was confused me because we just named two. So if we put name one equal name, and then I said like name equal or name now one equal B. Not two.
So
But
if you say that
with this situation,
instead of doing this one, we do name
name one,
equal, actually, okay.
name one,
Name one equal to C.
C. So name
Name one. So in this case, let's just do it with this diagram. Yeah. So now we have A, and then we have A, and then we come here and say that this is becomes C.
and then on.
Yeah, this is change B. So,
B still B.
yeah, because here it's not reference. We copied the value to this one, while the other one we have a pointer that points to the value. So I guess you just need to know is like it's a string, number, and boolean are copied when you assign them, while object and arrays we pass them by reference, which is like this pointer that point to somewhere else in the memory. Yeah, it takes time. And I guess it will be more obvious because I guess all of us have made mistakes about this specific part, and you will learn about it and you will know it by heart when you do the mistake by your hand, which will happen sooner or later. Yeah. Cool. So I don't know, Renee, is it? Yeah. Okay. So then we'll take a break, a lunch break, and then we can go to continue on the exercises and the other thing.
Any websites that you would recommend us that would help?
Yeah, there are a lot of materials I'll share, but also there is the curriculum from Hack Your Future. So there's a lot of what I described is from there. I will share the link on the Slack channel. Yeah.
That's why we can. Can I get like on the value? You can try
From now on, I will be like, I'm going to wall. Yes. From my homeland, you like it? From the beginning, from the beginning.
So Renee, how do you turn it on?
There's
Yes, yes.
Let me learn about it. Thanks.
And if you need sound, no, I don't think you need sound. No. So it's me, yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, so are you ready to start again? So let's try to, I guess this is still a bit complicated. Maybe we can just show you a quick demo for how this works in real life, because then it can be a bit less confusing, I hope. So in the console here, or maybe just go to the other console. So let's try to declare an object as we mentioned. So, or yeah, let's do let name equal to a, and then name to equal to name. So let as well. So then if we log name and then log name to, guess what is the output? Yeah. Yeah, okay, that's pretty straightforward, right? So then if I say name to equal to b, and then I try to print both again, then what is the output gonna look like? So first one is still a, and then the second one is b. And that makes sense, kind of, yeah. Because one we change, the other one is still like it was before. So that makes sense, okay. So then let's try to comment.
Down you said include is actually key. Yeah, that's completely logical.
Yeah.
But if you change name to C,
Yeah, let's try. Should we do it in another step or here or?
Yeah, let's do it.
now.
Okay, name equal to C. And then let's print them again. Yeah. Yeah, let's try to comment this out just to make it less noisy. And let's.
And that's what I don't understand. Why it's not the both children? Because it's like name, it's name two is responding to name. If name is C, then
But with the strings, you declare two independent values. So they are not connected. The first you copied the value from A to A, but now it's a completely independent one. So changing this does not change this, and changing this does not change this.
It's like updating.
Yeah, exactly. Updating the value only impacts the one you are updating because there is no reference, there is no connection between the two.
Objects there.
Yeah. So yes, so like this is a primitive type, and this is reference, which is the other example that we will come into later.
Can you just 1 second change the last one to name two equals C? Just put a two there. No, down. This one, yeah, just put a two there.
Here?
Yeah.
And then what do you want me to name it?
No, just delete this one, delete it.
This one?
No, the one below it.
This one?
Yeah, delete it. And then up, just C, the C.
Replace
Replace the name to name two.
Replace name two in the last replacement.
Yeah.
Just put a two there.
Here?
Yeah, there.
This way, okay. And then,
Now update it.
yeah, let's try to clean.
Here. And then now run. That's it.
Yeah, that's, I just did
Yeah,
that.
I completely understood what's going on.
Okay, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite logical. So first, when you said A equal to A, you have two separate values. You updated this one, and this one is only updated, and the other one is independent. So they're just copy of each other.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know if you use when you were young, you can copy text from two papers using the carbon something from one to the other. So like if you copy this one, if you change the copy you made, the original one is unchanged, right?
Yeah.
So this is the same idea. So you copied them, yes, it used to be the same, but you can add your own touch so the teacher doesn't notice in this way, and then they are different. If that makes sense.
And one question, can you do commenting in JavaScript as well?
Yeah.
How do
So-
you comment?
That's a good actually question. So this is, yeah, yes. This is an example. So this one, this is my example. So this one will not be executed. You don't see it here anywhere. So this is a single line comments, but you can also have multiple line comments. So if you add 2 stars and then, how do you do that? Yes. So then you can have here, all of this is comments.
That's like CSS commenting. in CSS.
Yeah. So this is one line, this is multiple lines. Some people would just prefer to have multiple lines like this, but it's just 2 styles of doing the same thing. Yeah. And okay. So I guess we all understand that the primitive types. So I guess if we change this name to, let's say age 1, age 2 equal to age. Then we should name it right. And then if we print both age and then console.h2, And then if we change H2 to B2, and then we print them again. So yes, the last two here would be 1 and 2. And that makes sense, right?
It's like a building with 3 floors.
Yeah.
If you want to say where are you and you're in the like floor number 3, they ask you, do you say I'm in the building 1, floor number 3.
Yeah.
Then you come to floor number 2, they ask you where are you? Say building 1, floor number 2, but floor number 3 is still there.
Mhm.
But where your position is right now
Yeah.
is what be executed.
Yeah. But so this is similar also to string and integer, like or numbers or all kinds of values. It's very straightforward, right? And now let's go to the bit confusing part. So let's say student. So let's say name equal to foo. So now if I get to print that student, and let's clear this up. Student. And then if we get here to say student 2 equal to student. And then we print student 2 as well. Yeah, so here we get true and full, and that makes sense still. So let's start making it confusing. If I were to change student 2.name to bar. So logically, what would change? Just student 2.
Yeah.
But then let's see what JavaScript thinks.
JavaScript is going to change the name.
Yeah, so if we come here, or actually let's remove this just to make it less verbose. And then, so both are bar.
Actually, the other ones before as well.
Which one?
You see the way of doing this. It makes the whole console logs on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then maybe also console.log after, just to. So foo, then after that, both are bar.
Okay, you wrote student 2 that name equals bar. Then console log student is bar, and
Yeah.
console log student 2 is bar.
And then let's do something else. So now let's change student 1 instead and rerun that. So if we do that, so it's the same, it's bar for both, even though I changed one of them. If you remember the picture from the other board, this one here, I changed it student instead of student 2.
Okay.
If you look at the second picture in the second board there, so both of them are referencing the same thing. So either changing 1 or 2, you're still changing the same reference.
Okay.
But how do you know they are referring this and it's not a copy like in this other case because of the brackets?
But that's what we said. That's in the presentation we mentioned earlier.
It's never copied.
Yeah. So data types, we have primitives. So you have a preset, you have a list of things that you know that it's always copied that this way, which is like numbers, strings, Boolean, big int, and so on. And then you have 3 types that are by reference: object, array, and function. So always objects are by reference. So yes, in this case, it was an object, right? While in the previous case, it was a string, which is primitive type. And this is the big difference between both. And the same applies to an array. So if we say here, students equal to A, B, and C. And then if we say students, so 2 equal to students. And then if we print both, and then students 2, and then that is still fine. But what if we were to either one, this or the other, doesn't really matter. It's like push, which means adding a new item to this list or this array. So I want to add D, and then I want to print them again. and I want to clean out my console. So then I see that both of them have D, because this is the other type. We said it's by reference, so they are copying each other. If that makes sense.
Why we should do
I asked, asked him the same question.
It's so unclear. Why would they equal this group? So just.
So when you go into a bit advanced in writing JavaScript or coding, you will need to do a lot of things. For example, calling a web server to get some student information or getting a lot of things. And in this way, you will get to do this one or the other. You might or might not do this specific mistake, but knowing how variables are stored and knowing this gotcha will help you to figure out what the problem is. Because if you have never seen it before, you will never know what is wrong. But at least you have an idea about what this means.
So isn't correct that like if we make it equal, then if we change even one of them, they both will be changed.
Will be changed, yes.
Actually, we never do this, so if we would like to make some ads, so we have to make a copy of the original, yeah, and then note the mutation, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, so yes,
We don't want to change the.
you don't want to do it this way, exactly. But if you don't know that this is wrong, you will do it. So just want to showing you what is wrong and what is right and what will happen if you do it this way. Because I imagine you can spend a couple of hours just figuring out what is wrong and not knowing what is wrong.
Should we study pointer in JavaScript?
No, I think that would be a bit advanced. Just knowing how the reference works and having this specific way of doing that should be fine. Because at least in my opinion, it's better to focus on the basic concepts of JavaScript first, and then when you're comfortable with them, you can learn about more advanced things. But I don't think it's something that is problematic for the start.
Ahmed, because we have tried something here and we are a little bit confused. Now I know what's the problem, so let's show this.
Yeah.
If we change the students and the student to lit and
Here?
inside
So here?
Yeah.
And here? And then?
Yes, and then we change the value of student to
This one?
to another one, yeah, to another array.
This way?
Yeah.
Let's say FG.
Yes.
And then we try to log them. Okay, let's try to comment this out. Then let's try to. So yes, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know why?
Because like
Yeah.
that allows us to change something.
Yes.
constantly.
And here we broke this reference. So as you mentioned, like we said that both are references to the same thing, but then we came here again and said, no, they're not the same anymore.
That's something else.
Yes, you are.
Update it.
Yes, exactly. Updating the reference to have a standalone thing or a new thing by its own. And that way they're not connected anymore. You broke the connection.
For me.
Yeah, I think that is.
Because you have decided to new values and get a new reference.
Yeah, so in this case, if you decided to do this in number 3, it will be that student 1, student 2, and then this one will be to something, and then this 2 will be for to a list. Okay. This one will be to a new thing. So we broke this connection because we decided to reassign it and give it another value.
But then students just really change it over.
No, if you want to keep them, then you don't have to change them, but they are not connected anymore.
Ah, new array.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you please show us a real life example of this?
Of what exactly?
Of this code that we are learning it here, thoughts that we are using it in a website.
So you want to see it in real life?
For example, have a form like with your name, your occupation, and your date of birth, and if you want to change the value there, you would probably use a constant because you want it to be saved. And then when you save that thing, this way it will be connected. What's going to appear to you as a user after you change the value is already is the same because it has the same expression. I'm looking at. So
It's like lab. Can we say it like changing a passport?
yeah, and the idea is that you have 2 places where you see it. One is where you input it, and then is another place where you visually see it. And these 2 places are in 2 different places. So that's why I was using the name as an example. If you change your name in the form, then the title of whatever will change the same case that you're typing, because it's the same, it's pointing to the same location.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
So I guess it's time for another exercise. Yes, so this example also is mentioned in the the curriculum here. Or you can just also copy it, write it as an exercise to write things. So this code will make an error, so you'll not be able to run this code as if you just copy it. So yes, you need to figure out what is wrong and fix that. You don't have to say, just let everyone figure out on their own. So yeah.
No, it doesn't involve the video, it's one. That's so we literally and also I said here on the scroll down, set to one, and then it says pizza fries, pizza fries, discount, scroll down, pizza fries and okay, so scroll back here. Is that something? Is that okay? Maybe scroll more or less to the listen then. There's another file and listen then. So yeah. One day it's more. Basically just try one. Yeah, those are just that's the so maybe you can share that code. I think that's very important. Price people. So when it comes to use this actually why this one is also It's the number of users, number of lines, it's like math. Yeah, you know, I like to explain it to us. Right here, that you write down your I understand the theory but I would more understand when they go to actual life.
Because the constant, like, the name is a constant variable.
That's the purpose.
Because the first one,
Yes.
the information that we have, for example, name, last name, address, email.
They're the same for
Because each one is. Yeah, we do up to.
So for example, by name, type of users, two, or users, three, what is you go users two.
So let's.
On the practical.
That's. Because the so in this case, you have to close this one.
But also that you want
Yeah. Yeah.
The last logo is about user, so minus one if you are holding a file. I think it's fun to use this, but yeah. Well, yeah, for the
What I don't. Not to- Because when the first season, which is first
again, yeah. 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 Something like this might not be exactly correct. So we have to have a yeah. We don't have a rainbow for yeah. So we get we fix it. We can add
Yeah, but maybe that's not what we want. Because we want to get the last element, but the last element, if you use it for free. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, it's good, but the same place to another server. So it's better.
Because we can you need to have the coordination. So if you don't have authorized, then you're not going to understand how get users to do. They also work. Yeah. Because you need to do more advanced. That's all. You also learn how to Node.js. And you learn between so if you don't know then you want to so we're just you might not see the value of it now, but in the future we will go to door. So you need to have good foundation.
Yeah, that's okay. This one is cool. Yeah, console bit valuable. Is actual console. Yeah, just defines now first try to consolidates with the price is down.
What is that one? Yeah, so that's the one to discount, the one we want. Yeah, but not this.
When you get
right. So in here we want to get the price after discount because that's let's say the customer this way otherwise you will have to pay the full price.
Yes.
Okay. The maintenance force, the last one is going to be wrong. Then if you want to use this,
users, then it's new to like users, right? Everyone that just watch it, either the group names and the. You learn about it. I really don't know. Hundreds.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a quick, like, how far are we?
I don't mean like this.
Okay, so the things that are done.
I'll check.
Okay.
Yeah. It's whatever. Yeah. It's what the.
Yeah. So, is the corner here done?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, so then we can. Yeah, okay, cool. Then we can move on to. So, before going, I guess the next part will be talking about the operators and errors. So before that, I mentioned, so we have briefly introduced how to add an item to an array, right? So you would call push. So if I have const names equal to A, B, and then if I want to add more, then I would push, and then C, that log, let's say names, and that would print me everything because we are adding to this list. If you want to remove something from the list, the opposite of push is pop, which will remove the last item from the list. And then if we print it again, so we got A and B. We also get each of the methods have, each of the variables in JavaScript have extensions or methods that you can use to get more information about the object. So names, I guess we got to use this before. Length tells you how many items are in this list. So yeah, 2. But there is also method to other kind of things in JavaScript. So if we use a variable, a constant called name, and we call ABC, and then we want to know how many letters are in this string. That length, it's exactly the same as the, yeah, so it's exactly the same as the list, but there's also more advanced methods with strings. So for example, let's say that we have the name here, A, B, C, and we want to create an array consists of these 3 elements. There is a method called name.split, which means change these items into an array, and then we want to provide an instructions to this method. So if we say space means that split the text here by space, and then anything in between, turn it into an array item. So in this case, if we log the output of this one and clean, yeah, we're missing 1. So we got an ABC. So then we use this string to form a list or array. The opposite of split is to join. So we want to combine things together. So if you do it the other way, const, yeah, names. Let's say again A, B, and C, and names dot join. Is it the, yeah? And then if we print that, yes. So now we have a single string that is a combination of all of them. So strings, you can also get a lot of powerful functions that you can use without you having to write them.
I'm sorry. And the names join. And then the space between it.
Yes, which means that I want to
Yeah.
get every item of these and add string in between.
Okay.
So you can
leave that,
decide, you can,
leave the space between.
yeah, that would be, you got ABC, but you can also decide to add $sign. So then you get $, $C. So then you can decide something else. And actually, there is also a function in JavaScript that we also, it was in curriculum, I forgot to mention, was called type of. So this one, if you give it a type of anything, it would tell you the type of it. So let's actually try multiple things. Console.log type of names, and then we can also type of one, type of one, and then also type of true. And then let's clean up and run. So the type of names is an object, but even though it's a list, because everything in JavaScript is an object. So that's one thing. But
Then string.
no, it's this one, not the concat one. And one here is just a number. So as we talked, that all numbers in JavaScript are just numbers. So type of one string. So be aware here. So like if you add double quotes or single quote, that means that you change this number into a string. So if you add the double quote or single quote to true, then it will not be bool anymore. It will be string. So you need to choose the right thing. So true here is Boolean, right? But if I add double quotations, true, then clear, yeah, string. Or what did I? Yeah, okay. So the last one here is a string. So be aware, don't add double quotes unless you have to, or single quotes for that matter. So names, as we said, it's an object because arrays in JavaScript are objects. But what is the type of this one? We join things together. No, yeah, string, because we are getting back a combination, or let's clear again, and yes, string. So why it's a string, not an object, even though, because we here join and we get a string by the end. Yes. So yes, just to make it clear, console.log. And yeah, so you have the ABC, which is a string. Is this clear so far? Just type of, you just get the type of thing. So if you don't know what JavaScript thinks of this type, you just add type of, and then it will print you the type of the thing you're checking.
One several times, but we don't have one. Does it just takes means that it's a number of the element like ABC?
Just a number like a string. So you can, it's predefined in the language. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just a number. Yeah, it can be 9 or something. Yeah.
So if we want to like a dollar and split it, just to put the space between, then every string has their own.
So if you say console.log and you say that A, B, C, and then we split by space. Or actually, maybe you can try something different this time with $sign and then split by $sign. So this one and space, but we don't have spaces, so it will not split it by. Actually, let's try to clean the console. Yeah, it returned the same text because you cannot split it by $sign and space because there's only $sign. So it will just return the original text again.
Like it's already split, right?
No, it's returned it as an array of one item, and the only item is the original text. But if we get back this one, so then we get the items back. So the type of this one, console.log, type of this one is string, but what is the type of the one we split? Array or object for JavaScript, but yes, that's correct. Yeah. That's good so far? Cool. So I guess then we move to this part. So like this is Notion. This is also part of the things, the materials we have. So in JavaScript that you got also to do it in the previous exercise, we have arithmetic operation, or like operators like plus for addition, minus, like the asterisk for multiplication. I don't want the dictionary, no. Yeah, so we got yeah, so we got the the asterisk for multiplication. This is division, this is modular, which is the remaining of the subtraction, very similar to math. And this is the exponent, the like 5 up to power of 2, and then you get something. So like it's a 25. So all of these operations you can use, you can assign them to a variable, or you can do it themselves. So like you can const number equal 1 plus 2, and then you get it, or 1 plus 2, you get a number. And I guess all of these are quite straightforward. There's no hacks in here. So if you just copy this one as is, and then we put it into the console, Notion is quite spammy with logs. So let's just go here. And we put all of them. So 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. 1 minus 2 is equal to minus 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And 21 multiplied by 5 is 4.2. 21 modular 5 is 1. And then, as you see here, you can add plus between strings to print things. So you can have multiple things you print at once, because I think in the exercises before, we had to do console.log for each of the things we had, but we can add plus and then print multiple things together. They are assignment operators, they are quite similar. So plus equal, which means that the value plus equal plus 1. So this is like a shorthand. So like if you say x equal plus 4, which means the value of x plus 4, and instead of you having to do it this way. So you can still do this, x equal x plus 4, or x equal plus 4. Minus the same thing, the multiplication the same, the divisions the same. So then moving on to the conversion. So yes, that's actually one we should do some stuff. So coming here. So console.log is 1 equal to 1. Yeah, so I guess equal means that you're trying to compare two values if they are the same or not. And we have exclamation mark equal, which means not equal. So I guess is 1 not equal to 2? And yes, and the other operators you can also do console.log. Is 1 larger than 2? No. So then, yeah. Yes, of course. And console.log is 1 larger than or equal to 1? 2. Yeah. Or console.log 1 less than or equal to 2?
Yeah.
True. So these kind of operations you can do like equal, no, greater than, also less than the same way, and greater than or equal, less than or equal. There is, one gotcha or one tricky part here again. So if we say console.log 1 equal to 1, is this true or false? Why? And since you're comparing banana and apple or something. Yeah, it's true, right? That's confusing. But yes, yeah, it's not strict. It means that, yes, JavaScript is a very loose language when it comes to type systems. So it converts the one, this one, it converts it to a number, and then converts it to 1, which is not really what we intended here.
But also if we add one more equal sign, it will give us.
Yeah, I'm coming here. Yes, yeah. So in JavaScript, this one, it will convert the other one to number and then compare them together, which not really what you mentioned here or what you commanded it to do. So in JavaScript, you can do 2 equals, but you can also do 3 equals. Yes. So the 3 equals will make sure that the value and the type is the same.
Always use string.
Exactly. So yes, so let's do it this and this, and then so the first one will compare the value and the type. And as you mentioned, the type to the left is a number, and the one to the right is a string. So they are not equal, so then it will return false. While the second one, it will only compare the value of both without checking the type. So for JavaScript, 1 or 1 is the same. It doesn't matter whether it's a number or a string. So you should always, similar to const and let, it's good to always use 3 equals instead of 2, because then you make sure that the type, the type and the value is the same, which is a bit different from other programming languages because you only have 2 equals in Python or in other things. But yeah, it is JavaScript. So
Like the first one compares there, right?
so the first one, the 3 equals compares the value and the type. The 2 equals only compares the value.
Third one.
There's no third. That's
No, I'm not.
but
You mean we have 3
You
equal
put
signs
one.
already? Okay, 1 equals, the second.
oh yeah, yes, okay, yes. The 1 equal is assignment, the 2 equals is comparison, and the 3 equals is also comparison.
But the 3 equals, we check the types.
Type and the value. 2 equals is only that's the god level of like comparison. But yeah. You will see a lot of people on the internet joking. There's actually a very funny video that compares the types, because there's a type in here called not a number. So if you console.log type of not a number, and type of not a number is number, it's like, but that's supposed to be not a number. But there are some bars that can be. Yeah, but let's actually try not a number with 1. So is yeah, let's swap it and then say that 1 equal to not a number. False. 3. And then let's try to false.
What if then not without not string 1, but just number 1 and none
Yeah,
and not string? 2 equal.
2 equals.
True.
Is it actually? No,
5 false.
I actually don't. Yeah, don't remember. I don't know if any of the mentors.
Equals, you said for value, and 1 is not a number.
Yeah.
So the values are not the same, and then in 3 equals, it would be the value not the same also, because 1 is not, and then.
Yes, yeah. Yes. Yes. But what is like the double quote? It should be.
The value would still be 1.
Oh yes, with the yes. But then.
Value is still 1.
Oh yes. Okay. Yes. Let's. Oh, okay. So if you say type of 1, type of none. Yeah. Okay. Cool. No. Oh, really? Let's try that. Console.log none. Oh. Yeah. Let's try. No.
So the number, not the number is not.
No.
Very special is none.
Yeah.
Like, why we need none?
What is like why not?
Because you sometimes you can get a string as an input if you have a form or something, and then you want to convert it into a number, right? If you get the number as a string from the HTML and you want to convert it into a number. So sometimes people can type their names instead of a number. So you want to know whether this is a number or not a number. So if you try to convert the string into a number, then you might get a number or an error that it's not a number.
We are too
So we have
lazy
make.
for Java.
Okay,
We just came from Git. Give us some time.
We have made the condition if number is not a number.
Yeah.
So do this.
exactly, yes, because for example, you want to validate if you have a form, for example, contact us form in a website, like the charity that you're talking about. So if I want to write them about something, I'm writing my email and my phone number so they can reach out to me. But if I decided to put my email instead of my phone number, so then they will not be able to call me if they have a system for that. Yeah, so this way you check if the input is not a number, then you return them an error instead of saving it into your website. So this is the way. Yes, also here you can compare multiple operations. So yes, so console.log. So you can say 1 equal to 1 and 2 equal to or greater than equal to 2. So then you are comparing, I don't know if you know, like in math, like true, false, true and false, false and true, true and true, and false and false. So yeah, so it's this, yeah, it's this. Okay. No. So it's this. So like this is true, false, with the end. So true and true in the end is true. True and false is false. True and false is false. False and false is false. And then with or, true and false. Okay. True and false. So true or true. True or false. True or false. And then false and false or false. So this is exactly the same. So here we are making and. So true and true is true. And then what if it's yeah, if we say false and true, false. So we get it here. And then the same, then or is 2 colon 2 like this thing. So yeah. So yes, I think this is more straightforward, I guess.
Learned that if I say false 3 out of 4, I would be correct.
Only in case of N.
It would be just one wrong answer, but I still win.
This is how I pass my exams. Yes.
I'm excited for the homework.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Oh.
Make it like not a number.
Yes.
Not a number.
Yes. Actually, should share the funny video about JavaScript. I hope it won't think you confusing, but there's a lot of problem in the design of the language itself because the language was developed in 7 days. So the whole programming language in the 90s. So
I'm sorry, did you say JavaScript was made in 7 days?
Yeah.
What's like that?
Yeah. Yes. So we talked this exercise or went through it. So I guess then let's start with this exercise. Let me try to zoom in if I can do so. So create a folder called pizza exercise. Inside the folder, create a new HTML file called HTML. Inside the folder, create JavaScript file, pizza.js. Remember to include pizza.js and HTML, and then write a log statement. Create a variable, log something, and then then we'll be around to help.
That was one?
No.
Done similar exercises with HTML kind of section. In the HTML section, you are just creating HTML file and including or like connecting JS file to this HTML file, and that's all.
Yeah.
So if you have something like with HTML,
Do it in the VS Code, right?
No, just the one. This next 4 weeks. That could be.
And you know, why we get smart because
Yeah, I know.
No, that's me. Oh, yeah, yeah. Which is much easier in review. With basketball. The exact text. Here for you, the one solo. Yes. I don't think I wrote. Oh, yeah. It's like, like you find people like you like basically the things like because a lot of complete love and like yeah but the like the it's give up they leave us to get to like, yeah, we go to the afternoon, we can do your thing. Looking at the gun spot, we're looking at the call, but yeah. That's very important.
I want to like, try to make, like.
We scanned them. Oh, shit, now,
Um,
we scanned.
all right, so if you can give me just a couple of minutes. So we have 3 minutes left, so let's just recap quickly about what we talked about. So yes, we introduced JavaScript, what JavaScript is. We went also through dynamic and static website, what is server side, what's client side, why do we need to learn JavaScript. We also learned how to run the JavaScript things from the developer console, and you also in the exercise learned how to do it in the browser, I guess using a JavaScript file. We also learned about variables, what are data types, what are the reference and value types in JavaScript. And then we also talked about the comparison and arithmetic operators. So is there any questions or anything that was unclear during this session? Do you have any questions in general?
Question would be more unclear.
Okay. Okay. And just also there's a homework here that you can check. And then also I will share the presentation and many of the materials I used to prepare this over Slack, and then you can use it also for reference. This is the homework. It's a lot of text here. I don't know.
wants to read it.
Yeah.
And remember with the homework, no? Right? Like it's supposed to push you a little bit, right? So like it is like a little bit more complicated than maybe other was. We should do it with kids.
Yeah.
Maybe learn from it. Yeah.
By pull requests to type in future and then you have to make a pull request showing you homework submission.
There's even like steps in the homework file showing you what to do, even what buttons to click and so on. So it's quite nice, yeah.
And then post,
We wouldn't have to much.
No, I think it's more text than work. It's just describing more what to do because
Is it clear to everybody?
no, I don't think it's too much. I think it's more just describing what to do. So like create an array and then you need to do it this way and this way. So I think it's just being thrown in the description because you are still learning JavaScript. So because in the future it should be more clear. I should not tell you what variable is. You just know what variable is. But here they're trying to describe because you're still learning. So yeah.
This homework and what I could not understand, how should we connect it to HTML? Is it just okay to write a JavaScript?
So actually, I haven't read it through, to be honest. But what I see, it's just JavaScript. But you can go through it, and also you can just write on the Slack channel if you have questions, because then we will have time to also read it and then answer you.
Yeah, it's just like about design a calculator or design something.
Yeah, but I guess if it doesn't mention anything about HTML or input from the user, then you should just make it as a JavaScript file. Yeah.
Probably overall, you should focus on this section in JavaScript because there would be another like a group of lections related to how interact with JavaScript and HTML or CSS or overall like make everything dynamic. So in these group of lections that are related